No,
This
it
is
also.
this is the CHRILLCAST. Gotcha. I'm Chris,
And I will.
I'm Andy.
and today is Throwback Thursday, and I always say it different every single Thursday. Unlike Will, who has been consistent with Manic
Yeah.
Monday.
And Chris also says, I say
Wednesday.
it different every single time. So that's actually your consistent part.
That is. So today, for Throwback Thursday, we're featuring a relatively well-known YouTuber by the name of IndieTimmie. So you want to tell everybody who you are?
I am a unicorn on YouTube and BitChute. I do Let's Plays compared most to the Game Grumps, Nintendo Capri Sun, and Rad Brad.
And you can find him at youtube.com/IndieTimmie. And the Indie and IndieTimmie, we found out in a previous episode what that was before it was IndieTimmie. So definitely
go
watch
it. Go watch it.
Definitely go watch Wildcard Wednesday, where we asked him about his unicorn avatar. All right, so today we're going to be covering the Xbox Live Arcade, which was originally formed, which I didn't know this actually until I did this research. 2004, they launched it on the
I had no
original
idea
Xbox.
it was on the original Xbox either.
I know,
Yeah.
it's so weird. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
But it got famous on the Xbox 360 with the 2005 release of the Xbox 360 and the Xbox Live Arcade.
I feel like it's because they pushed it more on the Xbox 360.
It was so smart, you know what I mean? Like, it's something
Yeah,
that
they had
didn't
an
exist.
entire arcade machine, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have that information later on, Will. Thanks for spoiling that.
Yeah.
So let me just read my synopsis here, okay? So it was originally released on the original Xbox, November 6, 2004. And then it was relaunched on the Xbox 360, November 22nd, 2005, with the console. In 2007, in October 18, 2007, to be exact, the Xbox 360 arcade model was released to promote the service with the lowest Xbox 360 console price to date. And then in July of 2008, July 30th to be exact, Microsoft launched the Xbox Live Arcade Summer of Arcade with a grand prize for people downloading Xbox Live Arcade titles, specific titles, throughout the August of 2008 of 100,000 Microsoft points, totaling approximately $1,250, a 12-month Xbox Live Gold subscription, and an Xbox 360 Elite console. And the end of the Xbox Live Arcade was when the Xbox One was released, and indie titles are now part of the actual regular Microsoft Store. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today is what is the impact on the industry of Xbox Live Arcade existing for independent titles and gamers. Let's start with IndieTimmie. What do you think of? What do you think the impact, the long-lasting impact of the Xbox Live Arcade is going to be?
Honestly, I feel like it was incredibly smart because indie games weren't really featured on anything big back then. Microsoft was really the first company to do that, and I feel like it's because of them that we have more indie games that we do now. So, and it had a lot of good games on it.
I actually got introduced to the Xbox Live Arcade via the Xbox Live Arcade Unplugged disc, which came with Galaga and Geometry Wars, Uno, those types of games. And I was like, what is this Xbox Live Arcade Unplugged? So what is the plugged version? I was very confused what that meant. It just meant you had the games offline on a disc. You didn't have to download them, right? So you never had to go pay for them separately and download them. So then I looked into the arcade and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of cool stuff on here. Like Castle Crashers was probably one of the most famous arcade titles.
Definitely.
And it made,
Kiss.
what is it, Behemoth? Is that the name? Behemoth?
Yep.
They were like a massive indie game publisher / developer after that, because they put out Battle Block Theater, and prior to that they had Alien Hominid on the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and the GameCube. So that was really how I found out about them.
I love Alien Hominid.
What about you, Will? How'd you find out about Xbox Live Arcade?
Just messing around the Xbox and found it.
I feel like that's everyone's story.
Yeah. But, Feeding Frenzy was definitely my first game for that, and then it just went downhill from there. So, Castle Crashers, I realize all the games I'm going to list are on the page right now, but Bionic Commando I played a lot of. And what was the Marvel game? That was on there too, wasn't it?
I'm not sure, but Feeding Frenzy is just a rip-off of this game.
Yeah, it is. It's still fun though.
I think my first Xbox Live Arcade game was Shadow Complex, which is actually on that image on the screen.
There you go. Shadow Complex. It also had, they re-released like old games, like the Banjo games on
Yeah, they did.
the Live Arcade, which is cool because it kind of ushered in the whole retro games being available on a console visually, right? Between them and the Wii.
When Microsoft decided to kill Rare.
Yes.
Hey, why don't you guys develop like some of the most iconic games of all time. Why don't you guys develop for the Kinect?
Yeah, the thing that's gonna die instantly.
Yeah, make some avatars for us.
Yeah,
Fun
Avatars,
fact.
Kinect.
Fun fact: I have a game on Steam that I had on the Xbox Live Arcade.
What's that?
Beat Hazard.
I have no
I
idea
recognize
what
that
that
one.
is.
It's kind of like a twin stick space shooter, but the way it utilizes the enemies is it uses the music on your hard drive.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
like the beat of the song will send out enemies.
So how did that work on the Xbox Live Arcade? Did they have like you use your music loaded to your Xbox 360?
Yeah, well, because if you remember right, they had a music section on your Xbox where you could play music, and they just utilized that. And also, this isn't at all to the Xbox Live Arcade. I discovered Trivium on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
So, fun fact of the day.
The second thing we want to discuss on this episode is like we kind of already started this, but what was our favorite? Let's stick to a list of 3 at most games that launched on the Xbox Live Arcade. I'll let Indy start it.
Okay, my first favorite game was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which everyone knows that you cannot play that game anymore unless you do some really complicated freaking stuff.
Or if you still had it loaded to your hard drive.
Yeah, which, nobody expected anything like that to happen, so.
Right.
Second favorite was Castle Crashers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And third favorite was Shadow Complex. Great Metroidvania game.
I'll have to check that one out. How about you, Will?
It's on Steam.
Yeah, I already said the. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, sorry, it's not on Steam. It's on the Epic Game Store.
Epic. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna repeat mine. So, Castle Crashers, Bionic Commando, and Feeding Frenzy. For those, I played so much of those games, so those have to be my favorites. Yeah.
So I have a really interesting game that I don't think you can get it anywhere anymore. It was so stupid and yet so fun at the same time. It was called Avatar Deathmatch. You ever heard of this? Since it's kind of like an unknown game, I'll just pull it up real quick. It was so bizarre. It was like your avatar that you created, where you'd load that into the game, and everybody had Nerf guns, and you just run around killing each other with Nerf guns. It was a lot of fun, actually.
I had something like that. I had a weird Avatar game where it was like a rock, paper, scissors kind of deal.
Yeah, and it actually crashed the Xbox a boatload of times on me.
Oh, jeez.
So this is what it looked like. I played this game like at least for 100 hours. I just get on and...
It looks like one of those terrible iOS games you'd download.
Yeah. So you just like Nerf gun the crap out of each other. That was the whole game.
I mean, hey, A for creativity.
It was really well made actually for what it was. Although it's super glitchy, and that was kind of what made it special. But I just stumbled on this, like this type of game without Xbox Live Arcade would never exist ever. So this one, and then I
wait a minute, what? The facial expressions change on the avatar.
Yes, they do.
Look at this handlebar mustache looking gruff and tough man.
Shout out to Gamer Graphics for using your gameplay of this because I don't have it anymore. There's that one. I love Battle Block Theater. That is, I'm trying to remember the guy's name that does the intro. Was it Tappy? No.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Tapper. I cannot think of the guy's name. But the Battle Block Theater intro, The intro narrator is amazing.
Will Stamper.
Stamper, that's right, Stamper. BattleBlock Theater. It's like it's the next game after Castle Crashers, right? You got Alien Hominid first, then Castle Crashers, and they re-released Castle Crashers recently, so everybody can play it everywhere now. And then you've got
look at that Steam
BattleBlock
train.
Theater.
That's old.
Have they done a new one since BattleBlock Theater? I think that was the last one they did, right?
I'm not sure.
And then, okay, so just to finish my list, Geometry Wars. I love
Oh yeah, Geometry Wars is good.
It's really good.
Apparently they've done Pit People.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah, 2017.
So these guys have done a lot of great games. They've used similar styles. Okay, yeah, so like Jacksepticeye's covering them. These guys got massive. And they're originally from, what website was that?
Newgrounds.
Newgrounds. That's right, Newgrounds. They were from Newgrounds. They went from Newgrounds to producing a full-length game, Alien Hominid, to producing Castle Crashers, BattleBlock Theater, and now Pit People. And I don't think they could have gotten nearly as much fame without Xbox Live Arcade, which did numbers for a lot of indie games.
Oh yeah.
So what does Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, Alien Hominid actually started as a Newgrounds Flash game.
Yes, it did, and it became a console game because of the popularity.
Yep.
It's an awesome game.
Just like The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. So just to wrap this topic up, what do we think the end of the Xbox Live Arcade, what is the impact to that being over?
Well, they've sort of rebooted the concept with Game Pass. So they have the ID at Xbox now. So they publish a ton of these indie games on Game Pass for free if you buy Game Pass.
It's true.
Yeah, that is a good point.
There's just not as much. Like,
No.
Xbox Live Arcade had such a large variety of
this is
games.
true.
It was like the Steam of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Steam had everything, and the Xbox Live Arcade had everything.
And to me, the impact of Xbox Live Arcade, I feel like Nintendo kind of adopted it with Nindies.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's moved to the Nintendo Switch.
But I don't.
Well,
think
and Steam, obviously.
Right. I don't think indie games would have nearly as big of a market without the Xbox Live Arcade. Like, Steam did its thing on the PC, and PC gamers always had these independently produced titles. But console gamers, I don't think you get independent games, at least to the level we have them now, without Xbox Live Arcade existing.
Yeah, I would agree
I
with
didn't
that.
I didn't even know about indie games until Xbox Live Arcade. So
They've kind of taken the place of AA developers, which do exist. That was a thing at one point in time. You get like the $20, $30 game versus the $60 full price AAA developed game.
okay.
I don't think independent games. I think they pretty much destroyed the market for AA games, because like Ubisoft, EA, they used to produce those types of games.
Well, I think they just, those companies killed that level of developer, period.
That's true. Yeah. So like, indies can exist because the level of they cut out all the fat, right? They don't have the same budgets that AAA developers have, but they also don't need them.
It's true.
You know, like you said in a previous video, some of these games are made by one person or three people.
Which is insane.
Yeah, they do a lot.
So
They can do a lot with a little.
a lot with a little, yes. It just proves to me that AAA developers have a lot of fat to trim from their companies, and I'm not saying that these people should lose their
I think
jobs.
they have different goals. It's like a lot of these indie developers. I'm not going to say all of them because I'm sure there's one that isn't. Oh, I lost my camera again.
Lost Will's face.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep going. The indie developers want to make a good game first, and a lot of these bigger AAA developers want to make a profit before making a good game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's where the fat is. Yeah.
There are definitely some AAA developers who still want to make a good game and not make a profit. From Software comes to mind.
I would say Microsoft's, like, as a giant company, they're not making a lot of money on Xbox, and yet they continue to push the bounds with the Xbox, despite not turning a big profit.
They've become a weird company.
Yeah. Well, now it's like, a lot of people are saying, all the games are coming to PC, so I'm just going to go to PC. And Microsoft saying, okay, Just buy the game. We're happy.
That is true.
That's
Or don't
true.
even buy the game. Just get Game Pass.
I mean, Xbox doesn't really have any exclusive anymore because if it goes to Xbox, it goes to PC.
Pretty much, with the exception of like Halo 5 and retro or rare replay.
Yeah, well,
a couple-
this generation, next
couple other
generation,
games.
everything will be on PC.
Yes, which is why I think the rumor that the Xbox Series X being a PC holds some water.
Yeah.
So,
That'd be pretty cool.
with that being said, do you guys have anything you want to add to the end of this?
I hope that Microsoft builds that ID at Xbox up like the arcade, and actually puts the hundreds and hundreds of games on Game Pass, or has a different thing, just like an actual arcade on the next system. That would be cool. I'd like to see a return to that.
How about you?
Give
Andy?
indie developers the love that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Just to wrap this up, I think the Xbox Live Arcade was an amazing idea, and I'm sad that it doesn't exist under that title anymore, but I understand they need to move on to bigger, better things like the ID program.
Yeah. Xbox Live Arcade was just a good name, too.
It really was.
Yeah, it was.
It was straight to the point of what it was, so it worked really well.
But,
As always, I'm Chris,
And I'm Will
I'm Andy.
and we will see you
on the next CHRILLCAST.
Mama.